Hello, this is Dustin Burrell with CIS 241. We're in the Windows Server, Microsoft Windows Server 2012 R2 Services MCSA Guidebook. We're starting our activity, which is 7-1, Exploring Failover Cluster Management Options. This is on page 266. What you will need is the 4.1 server 1, 2, and 3. So let's make sure we have all those. 1, 2, 3 right there. And log on to the domain as administrator. Start 412 server 1, 2, and 3. And then on server 2, right here, log on as administrator. I'm already logged on. On 412 server 2, we're going to open our server manager, which it's already open for me, and start the failover cluster manager. So let's go do that. In the left pane, right click failover 1.412 DOM 1.local, the cluster node, and click validate cluster. To start the validated configuration wizard, which just popped up right there, it verifies the cluster is still in good working order. This wizard runs validation tests. Give you a little insight about it. You must be a local administrator, and right now I am, so we're good to go on that. In the before you begin window, read the information, which I was just kind of doing for you. This is basically going to run validation tests to determine whether configuration or servers and attached storage is set up correctly to support failure. So click next. In the testing option windows, leave the default option run all tests recommended, selected, and then click next. In the review storage status window, click the checkbox next to both cluster disk. So this guy and this one. One disk should be assigned as the disk witness, which is right here in the quorum, and the other as the failover 1FS disk, which is right here. Click next. In the confirmation window, review the test to be performed, and then click next. Test to be performed, 412, list core groups. Those are all the tests selected by user. Those will all be performed after we click next on the cluster configurations. Click next to start the validation test. That's what it's going to do right now. Hopefully all of them make it without any errors. Watch the progress of the test. You might get warnings, particularly about the network test because you have only one network connection. Hopefully that's all it is. When the tests are finished, click View Report, and we will do that. And Internet Explorer window opens and displays the test by category. That's what will happen when we click View Report. As of now, we're just waiting. Arbitrane for disk 0. See if everything's going pretty good so far. Validated that. Pending. A lot of stuff is getting validated. That's good. Check out the process. I don't see any red, and that's good. That kind of bothers me. It's not. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, it's getting there. It'll just be a minute. In the meantime, I should check to make sure my other servers are running just fine. That one's on. This one's on. One thing I'm liking right now is I'm looking at least all my tests are passing, which is good. I don't want to have any problems while I'm recording, then having to pause it and go configure anything so the test will be validated. Looks like this is going to take a little longer than expected. I am going to pause and let it get validated. Oh, hold on. Maybe it's going to cruise here in a second. I'd hate to pause it. Right as I pause it, it's done. Let's just watch it for a second. Okay, there we go. Alright, I'm going to pause. And when this is finished, I'll start it again. Alright, and we are back. And the good news is the test passed. Test has completed successfully. The configuration appears to be suitable for clustering. Now we're going to want to view the report. Internet Explorer window should pop open. Okay, as you click view report, opens and displays the test by category. And of course, set up Internet Explorer. Kind of concerned about this. I don't know if I have internet set up on here yet. Okay. So when the Internet Explorer window does pop open right here, which we got right here, um, click on the network category. And because you have a warning in this category, click validate. But you want to validate the network communication. So right here, that guy's back, huh? Validate network communication to see the details about the warning. You see a message indicating that you should have more than one network. Let me see what that message is. Reachable from no server by only pairing own network interfaces. It is possible that this network path is a single point of failure for communication with the cluster. Okay. So that's what they're talking about. You see this message indicating that you have more than one network interface to prevent a single point of failure in the cluster. Click any other test categories with warnings or errors. When you're finished, close Internet Explorer and click Finish. Well, I don't have too many warnings. I was actually pretty lucky. So, when you're finished, close Internet Explorer. And I don't really have any other errors to check out on there. And then click Finish right here on the summary report of your failover cluster. And next you should shut down and restart a cluster. In the failover cluster manager, right click failover 1.412.dom1.local and point to more actions and click shutdown cluster. In the shutdown cluster dialog box, make sure you just click yes to confirm it. And to start the cluster, open a PowerShell window, type start cluster. So we're going to go down to our PowerShell window. And if any of you guys have lost me while we were waiting on the test to validate. We are still in 412 server 2. So type start cluster and press enter. Name failover 1. Got it. To see all information about cluster, type get cluster I forget what that sign's called. I call it just the wall. Get cluster, and then space, that command, and then space, and then format list. Make sure list is capitalized. Get cluster space bracket space format list. Oh, there's one more part to it too. Property. Property. And do not forget the star and then press enter. And it didn't like something I did. Just a sec here. Let me make sure I spelled everything right. Get GET hyphen cluster space bracket get cluster space and then format list dash property format list property get cluster. That looks into the term format list property is not recognized as of a command line. Let's try this. Doesn't like that either. I'm gonna have to figure this out. I'll have to pause just a sec. I don't want you to sit here staring at me just trying to figure this out. I'll figure it out. Be right back. Just a tiny little configuration. So as I was figuring that out, help you guys save time, make sure there's a space between this hyphen right here. I actually figured it out really quick. I just have had times where I don't figure it out right away. And video time is just going and going. So in the failover cluster manager, verify that the cluster is started. To see which server owns cluster course resources, we're going to have to go back and click on the failover 1.412.1.local node. So let's go back into the failover cluster. I'll just minimize that for now. And on the failover cluster right here, click on it. The summary section in the middle pane shows that the server listed after current host servers owns the core resources. Looking for that. Current host, yes. Okay. To view the core resources, scroll down until you see cluster cluster roles. Cluster core resources. Sorry, they're right down here. Right here in the center. Click to expand the server name. Okay. And then the storage resource. Expand that one too. Okay. The disk listed under cluster disk 1 is the witness disk. To confirm which one that is, it's this one. And to change the owner of the cluster core resources, you would like to right click on failover 1.412.1 local. Come back up here. Click to more actions. And then point to more core cluster resources. And then point to select node. Click the node shown, which is 412 server 2 or server 3, whichever one is here, depending on which node currently doesn't own the cluster core resources, and click OK. So we're going to click on 412 server 3, click OK. And in the summary section of the Failover Cluster Manager, you should see that the current host server has changed. Current host server has changed up here in the summary, and it did change. Okay. All right. Click OK in the summary. That's what I was just talking about. You should see the current host server. Current host server has changed to 412 server 2, indicating new owner of the cluster core resources. In the PowerShell window, which we're going to go right back to, that's why I didn't close it, just minimized it, type get cluster group, and then space, quotation, cluster, space, group, quotation. Get dash cluster group, space, quotation, cluster, space, group. Make sure you're, okay, that looks good. And there it is, name cluster group, owner node 412 server 3, status is online. And then after that, to display the current owner of the core cluster's resources, which we just did. Now we're going to look at a different command type, move. Move cluster group. Move cluster group, and then space, quotation, cluster group, and press enter. Took its time on that one. And then we are going to move, this is moving the core cluster resources to the best possible node, which is the node that doesn't currently own the resources. So now we're going to type get cluster group. Get cluster group, space, quotation, cluster group. Okay. Get cluster group, make sure everything's capitalized in the appropriate spaces, space, cluster, space, group, quotation. Enter. I imagine it's going to take it here in just a second. Come on. To see how this is going to show all the cluster resources have been moved. After that, we can close the PowerShell and this activity's done. I'm trying to be patient with it here. Come on. What's going on with you? Oh, and I already noticed that. I'm going to have to do it again because I have 2 quotation marks on the cluster group. Oh, come on now. Bugger. Up. There we go. Back one. Back one. There we go. Exit. Huh. Just a second. I think I disappointed my PowerShell. Hold on. get cluster cluster group can't get cluster group dot 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 bam. There we go. There it is. Cluster group 412 server 2 online. All right. Sorry about that. Thanks for watching my video. If you guys have any comments or questions, please let me know on my YouTube channel. And thank you for joining me on exploring the failover cluster management options. Have a good day.